Om Purnamataha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Paramsukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganu Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme precept. Yoga Vasishtha Utpatti Prakarana, section, I'm covering various sections, 68 to 83. It contains the story of Karkati. I've explained to you, Karkat is the gross word. All the garbage is called Karkat. It's given a simile of your personality is considered a city. Navadwara Puri. It's Puri. Not the Puri to Puri, it is a Puri city. And soul living in this city is called Purusha. The Puri and Purusha. And now, if you are not moving in a right way, then you are creating garbage in this Puri. In this city, if you move right way, then garbage removes, and the city leads you to divine city. You attain enlightenment. In a storyline, in the valleys of the Himalayas, there was a demoness, Karkati, with a gigantic body, ferocious looks, and she fed upon all creatures, especially more delectable was human beings. And suddenly an idea entered in her mind that if she were to practice austerity, she can get more access to every jiva, every creature. And with that idea, she practiced austerity for a long time. And then Brahma gave her the boon. And the boon was that she can turn herself into a needle. And she will stay according to her will. And as a needle, she can get into bodies of people. Then her name became Vishuchika. Is synonym for cholera, plague, all this type of disease that spreads so widely. And this is the stage of the story, but let me give the subtler meaning. Stories are for entertaining the mind and allowing your mind to hold it, because that's the normal psychology. It begins with your very early stage, childhood. You learn big lessons through parables. In parables, there is no restrictions. Monkeys begin to talk to crows. Squirrels begin to explain. You have a parable of a squirrel was jumping up and down in the afternoon hours. And the mountain became upset. That you little creature, can't you relax? And the, and the squirrel said, you big bully. You hold on to your head all the trees. But can you crack a nut? Being given a moral. Don't laugh at anybody. Everyone has a role to play, and what others do, you can't do it. So don't consider anyone inferior. But that subtle point he brought into a humorous story, a parable. Same way, profound insights are given in Yoga Vasishtha through story after story. At profound level, the story relates to Maya Shakti. Maya is power of illusion. The soul is absolute. All reflected suns are nothing but the sun. Similarly, all souls, when you talk of souls, you are talking on the basis of the mind. It is through the mind you are thinking about your soul. And mind has three obstacles within it. One is called mala. Mala is gross impurity. Another is called vikshepa. Vikshepa is subtle level of impurities coming in, staying in your subconscious. And most times you don't even know yourself unless you go through a profound spiritual movement. And the deeper level, called avarana, it is in the unconscious plane, creates a veil in your understanding. Mala, vikshepa and avarana. And Maya Shakti has two aspects. Avidya, ignorance. Ignorance is the one that is the problem. Another one is called knowledge, vidya. Both movements are in the realm of illusion. If you find yourself trapped in a forest in the dark night and suddenly begin to decide, take a path that can take you out of the forest. And there are two choices. One is leading you out of the forest, another leading you more and more into the forest. In the darkness of night, you don't know any one of them. And yet, if you are to follow the path of vidya, what I'm trying to say, that even if you follow the path of knowledge, in the beginning you are not aware of it. You still it in the realm of Maya. But it's something unique. That's how, because your enlightening process comes in the realm of Maya. So even when you have adopted the path, many times your mind is not very clear about it. A lot of doubts, a lot of diffidence, a lot of lack of trust develops. Nevertheless, if you insist, you are moving away. So even Vidya movement is in the realm of Maya movement, Maya. Karkati becomes both. She becomes avidya, taking the soul deeper and deeper into mud, into forest. Same source of Prakriti becomes Vidya Maya, becomes knowledge. Then the soul it leads the soul to enlighten. Here in Karkati story, what being highlighted is avidya aspect. the aspect that drowns the soul into the muck of the world process. So that's subtle philosophy behind it. And let me follow this story and then I will go on telling you. Since then, Karkati took the form of a simple needle. Mala in its operation, mala is gross impurity. Mala is limited. So if you give a personality to mala, mala feels dissatisfied. It grabs everybody. But people have some way to wash it off. You see, dust comes, face covers, and you wash them off. And you smile at the mud. And the mala becomes upset. How can I be ridiculed like that? Again and again. Then the mala, what does it do? It does austerity. Austerity means mala continues in your personality day after day. We allow anger and hate and negative movement of mind. All this you allow it as if natural. If you allow it, that means mala is practicing austerity. And in this austerity, many positive situations come. They are the temptations given by gods to disturb the austerity of mala. But mala is so firm in the austerity that finally succeeds in creating karmic process. And it is all now receives the authenticity from Brahma, the creator. So Brahma gives, as if Brahma gives a boon to your mala to become an active ingredient in this world process, powerful factor. As a result, now, after what is being led to, instead of staying gross, mala becomes needle-like, goes into your unconscious. Now mala has found a good place. You got to wipe it off. Now mala smiles on you. You think that you have cleared yourself off. The vasana stage is secure. But if you advance in a further understanding of the purpose of creation, then even that aspect is not satisfactory. Your vasana movement cannot find its fulfillment in the divine creation. It's meant to be extinct, nirvana. If you keep that, then we'll understand the deeper meaning. Now, at this stage, Karkati has become like a needle, subtle vasana. She entered into the bodies of others in the form of various diseases, such as plague and cholera. Let me first clarify it. Firstly, it is allegorical, but at the same time, it has another extension. Another extension is practical extension. Your vasana is impure. You are depriving your body of healthy vitality. Your vasana and your body both are related. Therefore, in Vedic study of health, disease, first disease that is Vedas point out, it's called Mool Adhi. root disease. Root disease means soul that is in healthy state, the soul is immortal. If the soul has entered into the world of mortality, that's the root disease caused by ignorance, avidya. Now come to another level of disease. Led by the root disease, everyone suffers from two branches emanating from the root disease, adhi and vyadhi. Adhi is a mental disturbance. Vyadhi is your physical disturbance. Both are also related. In other words, if you allow your mind to stay in a negative state, even if you, the more crude illustration, if you are addicted to being angry over the smallest things, addicted to see only the negative, each time you do that, keep a little mirror near you. That's what happens. Was depriving your face from vitality. A dark shadow begins to develop on your face. And this piles up because now your anger is doing austerity. Until it gets a boon. It causes rheumatism, biliousness. People cancerous movement is inspired. All that can happen. So that's called vyadhi. And that point is being brought out in a very simple way. So that needle-shaped Tarkati became the creator of troubles such as plague, cholera, and also subtler troubles that are also like viruses. If someone develops a negative way of thinking, and if he holds a very big position, of influential position, how many people suffer because of his negative mentation? Find the remedy for that virus. And that's the role of Vishuchika. Now let me give you a little amusing stuff. When your vasanas become muddled up, your experience of the world depends upon your nature of your vasana. Vasana, what type of vasana is operating, that determines your experience. A humorous point is given in one of these literatures. 4 persons gathered in Prayag, which is a confluence of 3 rivers, a holy place. And early in the morning, they hear birds singing. And a special bird was giving a rhyme in 3 stages. And the Hindu devotee listening to it said, Sitaram Dasrath, Sitaram Dasrath. That's what the bird is saying. There was a Muslim devotee. He said, oh, how wonderful. Subhanallah Qudrat. Subhanallah Qudrat. Which means God's creation is full of His grace. Subhanallah, Qudrat is all this nature. Subhanallah. Subhanallah, Qudrat. And there was a village merchant. He said, Hig haldi adrak, hig asafatida, haldi turmeric, adrak ginger. Hig haldi adrak, hig haldi adrak. That's what the bird was singing. And there was a Englishman, a tourist, who was hungry and was wanting to have some tea. He said, oh, the bird is reminding me, chai, biscuit, cigarette. So the same situation, but from different minds, there are different expectations. That's the role of Karkati. Karkati that is needle-shaped, operating through your unconscious. O Rama, it is one's sankalpa, mental will, that leads him to great heights of spiritual consciousness, or degrades him to the lowest depths of humiliation. Sankalpa term relates to same vasana. According to your vasana, you develop a special will in your mind. Karkati remembered her previous body, and she repented bitterly for having lost it due to her ignorance. Again, it's storyline. That Mala aspect, with all its enormity, enormous personality, doesn't find fulfillment. In this plan of nature, Mala does not have fulfilling role. So then Mala goes into the stage of subtle needle, vasana aspect. More better term is called vikshepa. Needles in your head. And the head can't stay calm. It's called vikshepa. And that vikshepa aspect doesn't find its fulfillment. It's all the negative in you don't bring about any fulfilling purpose. That's the whole moral behind it. Shiva Shishta continued, O Rama, Karkati began to practice austerity in order to regain her previous form. Her austerities were severe. Again, she does austerity, and again there are lots of trials, tests given by gods, and Karkati stays. In other words, negative in you grows into intense forms by repeated practice that goes on unwittingly. Positive also gains by repeated practice. And that repeated practice is called austerity. This time, at last Brahma again presented himself before Karkati to grant her a boon. But by now, Karkati did not ask for any boon. She thought within herself, I have become full. All my doubts have been rent asunder. What am I going to do with a boon? The same desiring process comes to a stage of recognizing that there is nothing in the world that can really bring fulfillment to any desire. The desiring process itself is illusory. I have attained nirvana. I have become liberated. All my desires are fulfilled. Seeing her quiet, Brahma said, "O daughter, you are enlightened. However, since you initially practiced austerity with the desire of regaining your former body, you will attain it. You will become an enlightened demoness abiding in the Himalayas." What does the enlightened demoness mean? In the storyline, it has its own color. The function of vasanas. Now your vasanas will operate to promote discrimination, vivek buddhi, enabling you to recognize the difference between right and wrong. And when there is something wrong, the Karkati will eat it up. Same Karkati now is playing a different role. Brahma says, you will become an enlightened demoness abiding in the Himalayas. You will enjoy the nectar of meditation and samadhi. To maintain your physical body, you will eat only those who are unenlightened. You will eat up impurities. Therefore, you will be known as Anyayavadika, the remover of injustice. Godward movement is just movement. Moving away from God and getting sunk into mud, that's unjust. So, if you take unjust movement, then that mala that causes your movement to move away from dharma, from the righteous course, that becomes the food of this transformed Karkati. This is Vidya Maya. In Vidya movement, impurities are eaten up in a different way. They are transmuted. With Avidya Maya, impurities are not transmuted, they are gathered and solidified. With Vidya movement, they are gathered to be burnt up, to be transmuted. Every negative in you is a short-circuited energy. And in correct movement of sadhana, short circuits are corrected. When they are corrected, the negativity that you found suddenly disappears. Since then, Karkati enjoyed the bliss of samadhi and at times sported in the Himalayas, feeding on sinful karmas. Sri Vasishtha continued. Now the role of Vidya, knowledge, is being described in another allegorical way. What constitutes gaining knowledge, spiritual knowledge? Karkati is given that type of task, to set up a whole inquiry questions. And those who give correct answer, she is not supposed to touch them. But those who don't, she is going to grab them. Vasishtha continued, one dark night, Karkati was looking for ignorant souls to eat. She prowled through a dense forest when it so happened that King Vikrama, the king of Kiratas, and his minister were wandering looking for the hideouts of robbers and thieves. Now in the storyline, Vikrama is an enlightened person. He's king. His minister also is enlightened. And they rule over their kingdom in such a way that they themselves guard people against thieves and robbers. So in the night, they come out in their own kingdom in disguise, checking on the safety of their own subjects. This is the old style glorification of righteous kings. Mistaking these two for ignorant souls, the terribly formed Karkati rushed towards them in order to devour them. Seeing them fearless, she wanted to test their knowledge. Of course, that was our condition was made by Brahma. You see, she cannot eat those who are enlightened. And she determined to kill them if they proved to be lacking in spiritual wisdom. So she gives here's, there is a summary of question and answers. Karkati asked the question, what is that subtle atom which contains millions of worlds like waves in the ocean? Question again becomes allegorical. And the answer is that subtle atom is the self, the Atma, the absolute self. Due to its subtlety, it is figuratively described as an atom. Because human mind always thinks of subtle being little like that, always put with your nails. It contains millions of words like waves in the ocean. To understand in a simple way, in the night when you are dreaming, the entire dream world, where did it arise? It arose from a mystic subtlety. That's called subtle atom. And that little subtlety of within you created the entire world. So the entire dream world is a little subtle atom. This is described also in another allegorical way, where Vasishtha gives Rama an illustration that in a dark room, during a sunny day, through a little crack in the window, a beam of light comes. In that beam of light, you will see countless dust particles shining, scintillating. Consider each dust particle as a universe, an entire world system. Now imagine how many world systems are there. One little ray holds within itself countless world systems. First count how many rays come from the sun. In brief, don't do that. It's impossible. Illusions have no limit. Brahman, the absolute, alone is real. In the realm of illusion, the Brahman becomes the source of countless world systems. Next question, what is that which is void and at the same time full? What is that which is non-existent in the eyes of the ignorant, but existent in the eyes of the enlightened? The answer lies, let me see, the answer given here, the king gives. The world is void and non-existent from the point of view of from the enlightened point of view, but existent and full of multiplicity from the point of view of the ignorant. This is the meaning of Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Purnam, God is Purna, full. But at the same time, through a magical power, that full becomes all this world process. Countless worlds proceed from that full. But in spite of all the worlds, that Brahman remains just full. You milk out from Brahman all these countless worlds, and Brahman remains just the same. Put it in a simple way, out of this sun, so many illuminations come. But the sun is not lacking those illuminations. Sun remains just the same. Purnamadaha, Purnamidam, that's full. And all that you are perceiving, being illusory, the reality behind all this is the same Brahman. And therefore, when you become enlightened, and you are not using your mind and senses to experience the world, but transcending your mind and senses, and sun doesn't have to experience by using an instrument. Sun is always effulgent. Once senses are transcended, that divine self alone is real. Third point, third question. See, the Karkati has so much Vedantic knowledge. Who am I? Who are you? What is that which moves and yet is immovable? And the king replies, you are essentially Brahman, the Absolute. I am essentially the same non-dual Brahman. That Brahman, the self, is neither I nor you. But due to ignorance, it is identified with illusory names and forms. It is this very self that moves and at the same time does not move. Implying it moves means all that has emanated due to ignorance is from the very self. Your body moves, your senses move, your pranas move, your mind moves. All things seem to move around. Just like in dreams, so many things move. Only your bed doesn't move. The Brahman doesn't move. But all these illusions, backed up by Brahman, they are in the realm of movement, time, space, causation. It is the self that sustains the realities of time and space. Those who are enlightened realize it to be immovable. Brahman is absolute, immovable. And figuratively described, Brahman moves faster than the mind. Even if you allow the mind to think of something, and it may take you 20 years to study and to direct your mind, but Brahman was already there. Next question. What is that which is ever realized and yet has to be realized through numerous efforts? What is that which is not attained by the ignorant, while the wise attain it in its fullness? Answer. Brahman is the essential reality in every person. Implying Brahman is not an object to be attained. Brahman is always there. Even from the point of view of spiritual seekers, the idea I must attain enlightenment, to the mind to develop where can I go to get God's grace? And people start guiding, go to Kedar, go to Badri, go to that place. And your mind goes on developing that type of, that I'm so distant from God. Can I ever come face to face? Can I dar? The reality is, even what you are saying is sustained by God's. God is your awareness, consciousness. Without that awareness, you can't speak, can't think, can't imagine, can't worry, can't weep, can't be joyous. And you are weeping for, where is that awareness? It's a ridiculous situation. The role of ignorance that doesn't allow one to have an intuitive grasp that all these experiences that you have, which you call the world, they are projections. In the cinema show, you go far and wide with the show. But the screen is just there, and the screen is the only reality. Led by your mind, you go far and wide, as if you have moved away from God, so far distant. But even the idea you have moved away from Him, this idea is sustained by God's presence. He is the underlying awareness behind it. Become terribly frustrated, awareness that makes you feel you are frustrated. That awareness is Brahman. So therefore, Brahman is essential reality in every person. But as long as the subtle desires of the mind are not dissipated by the light of knowledge, so long one is unable to discover one's essential nature. As long as you do not purify your vasanas, ultimately leading to what's known as vasana kshaya. Vasana kshaya state is that where ignorance and 5 factors, beginning with ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, fear of death. Vasanas that are backed up by these 5, vasanas that are the source of these 5, ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred and fear of death. Those vasanas, as you attain enlightenment, they become completely annihilated. Just like night, darkness moves away with light. With real understanding, ignorance moves away. Just like when you wake up from the dream, the entire dream moves away from you. And even if you are in dream and you have that awareness, awakening awareness, you play both roles. You are not upset by what you are doing in your dream world. Rather, you become amused. And in that amusement, you watch yourself waking up, shaking off the entire dream. That gives you a close simile with the process of enlightenment. The self, which is the ever-present reality, is conceived as a distant goal by the unenlightened. It's the outgoing mind that creates an illusory distance between the self and the individual. Just like the mind creates a big distance between the cinema show that you are enjoying and the screen that is all the time behind everything that you see, untouched by what you are figuring out. Next question. What is that atom which contains the Meru mountains within itself? Just for understanding, Himalayan mountains are the greatest, but the scriptures have given you more imagination. Meru mountain is 1,000,000 Himalayas put together. And here is this subtle point that contains the entire Himalayan mountain or Meru mountain. What is that? Ask a child. We'll tell you it's a computer. I'm joking. Figure out how does he so many things express on a little screen in the computer. Similarly, led by Maya, your consciousness gets involved with countless things of this world. An illusion is something abstract, you can't count it. What is that which converts the world into a dust particle? Your Viveka Buddhi. The moment you have discriminative knowledge, you understand the glory of all the world, even up to Brahmaloka, is considered Trinavat, a little straw. That's the definition of discrimination in the highest level. There is no desire for coming into the world process, no matter how promising that incarnation may be. Some may tempt you. This time you will come back as a great emperor. You rule over a vast kingdom. Probably the whole earth will be under your control. And so forth. But all that, if you have Viveka Buddhi, clear understanding of the nature of the world, quantity should not disturb your mind. Illusion is illusion, whether it's given to you in a little cup or given to you in the form of the whole ocean. What is that which, though atomic, cannot be contained even by the thousands and millions of miles of distance? That's time, space. In this, implying God cannot be brought. Brahman is not defined by time, space, causation. So in the world of time, space, you can't place Brahman. Here he is. Nowhere can you place Brahman. If he is there, he is in the millions of light years away, there, somewhere. He has his whole city and he's there. So that is a childish description. Brahman is not located in time, space, causation. Brahman is that atom. It contains the entire universe within itself also. It's a humorous one. Atom is Atman. Brahman, same as Atma. It's gone to English language as atom. The various world systems are like dust particles scintillating in a single ray of the effulgent sun. What is that atom which is tasteless and yet the very essence of all tastes? Tasteless means human interpretation of taste is what you experience through your senses. You touch, feel, smell, that's called tasting. But Brahman cannot be brought out in the terms of your taste. How does it taste? It's pungent, sweet, soft. In other words, don't figure out Brahman in the terms of your sense perceptions. Brahman is beyond your senses, beyond your mind. The Upanishad calls Brahman raso vai saha. Brahman is absolute taste. And that taste is void of all your imaginary tastes. So it's tasteless as well as infinitely tasteful. The void of all joys and sorrows. From worldly point of worldly happiness, not there in Brahman. The Brahman is Ananda, absolute bliss. And with this I will conclude. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.